Smart Bond. Well, go back in time a little bit. It was November of 2013, and the voters of Dearborn were very kind to us and approved the $76 million Smart Bond initiative, which provided us with funding to take care of a lot of projects throughout the district. Fast forward, here we are, and it's almost a year later, and we want to know, where are we at? What has been done? Well, joining me today is Jeff Burek, our Director of Operations, and Tony Sarkins, Director of Trades and Skilled Labor. And we're going to provide you with a little bit of information about what's going on and what's been happening and where we're going into the next months ahead. We're standing here, gentlemen, today in the beautiful, beautiful team room concession stand here at Edsel Ford High School. This is probably one of the more visible projects, even though I know a lot was done over the summer. This is probably the most visible of projects. And tell us a little bit about what took place here, what all is in this building.
Well, Dave, right now we're standing in the concession stand right here. This is where they would prepare all the food for the football games and pop and smoothies, hot chocolate, anything the students and parents and alumni would like to get. Next to them, we have 1,200 square foot team rooms. They have a restroom so the teams can come in at halftime and go over their plays. In clement weather, they can get in there really quick. So it's a very nice facility to have. We also have restrooms, women's and men's facilities on both sides. They're all state-of-the-art bathrooms. But, yeah, it's one nice facility for football.
And I think, too, it's important to point out that, you know, our fields in Dearborn, not only here at Edsel, but at Dearborn and Fordson, get a lot of use outside of just our teams, but a lot of use from outside companies coming in, outside sporting activities coming in, soccer and all of those kinds of things. Also, we have, as well as our own high school teams that are using facilities. So these facilities will get a lot of use throughout the year, or throughout the warm weather year.
Yes. We do have a lot of work going on. I mean, a lot of projects and people that do come in and use these. And that's why we're also upgrading Fordson's football field. We are going to be building a concession stand behind the home field bleachers. We're going to move those bleachers up closer to the track, closer to the field, so they have a better view. We'll be able to then get the concession stand behind the bleachers.
Okay.
And we're going to have a new press box. So that's a facility that's going to be started right after football season this year, and we'll be ready for football next year. So all our fields will be updated with some of the most recent technologies and concessions and facilities.
Well, you know, and I know, you know, Jeff, being around the district for a while, this really has been a process for us. It started back at Fordson with a new synthetic turf field, and we moved over here to Edsel, Dearborn, and now we've just kind of making that loop around again, giving update, like you said, updating all of our facilities so that all the facilities have state-of-the-art fields, state-of-the-art concessions, making it easier for not only the players but the fans alike.
Yes, it's probably been between a 10 and 15-year process to go through and do all this work.
Right.
So, and
well worth it.
Yes, well worth it. We have to thank the taxpayers and the school board for supporting all this.
Absolutely. So, you know, it was a $76 million bond project or bond proposal, and we did quite a bit this summer. $13 million of work was done just this summer alone. This is a big project, but obviously didn't take the bulk of that money. That $13 million was spread around the district. Parking lots, roofs, lockers, all kinds of things. Tell us a little bit, Tony, what's some of the work that took place this summer throughout the district?
A big part of it was the roofing. Dearborn High got very extensive roof work done on it. Smith Middle School, Smith got a lot of roofing work done on it. McDonald, Lindbergh, Stout, we had a lot of work over at Stout. We did a lot of really needed roof work on the buildings, and turned out real successful. Everything was real good. Parking lots, we did quite a few parking lots this summer, and we've got some planned for next year. But, for instance, Becker got a new parking lot out there. There was a couple others that were...
We had Howard, Lindbergh, Howard Lindbergh, yep. They all received Lindbergh, new parking lots.
Parking lots and play areas that were resurfaced on there. We also had a lot of locker work done in the buildings. Maples got all new lockers in it. Salina got all new lockers in there. Stout got brand new lockers in it, and that was real successful.
Lori
was
did.
another building
Yep.
that needed them in there too.
And I think that's important because, I mean, obviously some projects, they're not as sexy as some things, but they're needed. They're needed to maintain our buildings, 60, 70, 80-year-old buildings in this district, yet you walk in them and they're beautiful. They're maintained. And we're able to get a lot of life out of those buildings, and we want to continue to get those life out of those buildings. And in projects like roofs, that's vital because if you don't address those needs now, it just leads to bigger problems down the road.
And some of the smaller ancillary projects, we did have flooring. We put flooring in at Becker, Nowlin, Oakman, Snow, McCullough, Eunice, Fortson, Duval. These were areas where, like a media center or a few classrooms, they needed work. Some VCT tile or new carpeting in the media centers. So those were all renovated and to update some of those areas too in the building. So we also installed digital signs at some of the new schools. I know a lot of the schools, some of them had them, some of them didn't. So we're trying to go around all the district and update all our signs. Some of the signs that were installed were Cotter, Miller, Lindbergh,
Becker,
McCullough, Eunice.
Yep.
So those were some smaller things that people may not necessarily see, but again, important projects like you mentioned, Dave, that are all part of this bond. We installed new playgrounds. We had playgrounds installed at Howard, Lindbergh, McDonald, Salina Intermediate, Snow, Lori, the Dearborn Heights Center. A lot of playgrounds were installed. And Hague also had a new playground.
So that's a lot of work done in a short amount of time. But again, touching on a lot of schools, every school getting something out of this bond proposal, a good use of taxpayer dollars. Again, we appreciate that support from our community, but we're putting it back into our schools, improving the schools, which really has a direct impact on improving the neighborhoods in general. When you see well-maintained schools, new playground equipment, and those kinds of things, it really goes a long way in helping improve the overall look of the neighborhood as well. Now, there are some big projects. We still have a lot more to do, and there's some really big projects, some additions. Henry Ford, William Ford, River Oaks, Gear Park, Woodworth. Brian, can you give us a little bit of timeline on some of those big additions that were such a huge part of this smart bond?
William Ford, Henry Ford, Gear Park. The new additions, they're going to be shovel-ready by November. We're starting the additions. We'll be working on those throughout the winter. And by mid-July next year, they should be ready for school.
Right.
Weather permitting.
Right. And we do have construction fence up, temporary construction fence up at those locations right now.
Okay.
So the public can see that. So those projects are pretty close to starting off.
And just as a reminder, at William Ford and Henry Ford, William Ford's getting 6 classrooms addition?
Six classrooms at William Ford.
And Henry Ford is a little bit bigger addition on there?
I want to say there are 10 classrooms.
10
classrooms on Henry Ford.
Henry Ford.
Yep.
And now, obviously, construction going on, we still have school going on, safety. People are going to be concerned about the safety. What kind of precautions are we taking to make sure that construction stays away from where our kids are?
That's why we've established the construction sites already, that established the construction fences around the schools. So the public gets acclimated with where the construction is going to be taking place. They'll be well posted. Every site will have an on-site superintendent that will be controlling the daily activities out on the site.
Great. Excellent. And, that's key to, like I said, making sure that we maintain a safe environment around our schools. So parents really, I don't think they need to be worried about that, every precaution is being taken to maintain that safety.
Safety's first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So those are the big additions. Those are some of the big things going on around the district. And we talked about some of the other things that happened this summer. One of the other things that I know is going to touch every school, and a lot of people have been asking about it, is the security system, the control card access system. Where are we with that project?
Well, as we're speaking, Dave, that's all being installed right now. All the wiring and control access panels are being put into the buildings.
Door hardware.
We're going to have the card access swipe where you'll be able to come to the door, swipe your card, and you'll be able to enter. Someone will buzz you in from the office or the engineer's office. So we know who's entering through the front door or the receiving room doors. We'll have one there at the receiving room and one on the front.
And I assume that will look a little bit different at each school, given the size of the school. Bigger schools, it might look a little different as far as the number of control access points as opposed to a smaller
bigger schools, more controlled access. Depends on what's existing there. If there are hollow metal doors and frames, a little harder to get the controlled wiring into it.
Sure.
If it's aluminum storefront, we'll be able to get wire it so it won't be as noticeable, but we'll be able to get it to every location for the card readers.
And I think that's important to understand that it's not just slapping some little buzzer on the door and that's it. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes wiring that takes place.
A lot of technology involved in it.
In that as well.
Right.
And that's a perfect segue, Tony, into our technology part of this. Now, I know that really a lot of that technology falls into the area of Troy Patterson, who's our director of technology. So that's really his area, and we'll talk with him about the details of that. But I know that this summer there was a lot of work done on computer labs throughout the district, Chromebooks added, and really the important work that was done was a lot of the infrastructure wiring. You know, we want wireless technology throughout the district in all of our buildings, and in order to handle the amount of technology being pumped through that wireless system, there was a lot of behind-the-scenes work done to increase that capacity to allow that to happen.
Right. Upgrades in their servers, power added into where we needed power to be supplied, raceways installed as needed. So yeah, there was a lot of work that was done above the ceilings, behind the walls and stuff like that.
Great. Interesting. Well, it sounds like we've got a lot going on and a lot more to go. This was projected to be 3 years. That this $76 million, these projects would take us about 3 years from start to end. Do we look like we're on that timetable?
Yes, we're doing very well. We're right on schedule as we planned. We're in our second phase of work right now. We're preparing for our second and third phases. We're sitting down, going over with the architects and construction managers, and we got our schedules. We're laying them out for next summer. Next summer, again, we'll have paving, more roof work, some more smaller ancillary projects in some of the buildings. We have some auditorium renovations at Dearborn, Smith, and Stout. So we do have a lot planned for next summer, too.
Okay. Well, we're keeping you guys busy.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Yes. Yes.
That's excellent. Well, I want to thank Tony and Jeff for taking a little bit of time out today, visiting with us, sharing that update, sharing that information with all of you. And we'll be back. We'll come back and we'll do this every now and then, maybe from a different location. Maybe we'll do it from as the additions start going up at Henry Ford or William Ford. We can stop in there and see how that's going and update everybody again on all these projects. Once again, we can't thank the citizens of our district enough for their support of our district. It's just crucial to maintain these schools and to maintain a safe environment for our students. You know, we've had 28 straight years of growth in our district. Student enrollment up 28 straight years. And that says a lot about this community. It says a lot about what people value here in Dearborn and valuing the school district and valuing the educational system. And we appreciate that here in the district. We appreciate that support. It means quite a bit to all of us here. We want to make sure that we are being responsible with those taxpayer dollars, using them efficiently and effectively. You know, all of our other bond projects that we've done in the past, the big one back in 2002, and even going back into the 90s, all of those projects coming in on time, on budget. And that's a track record that we're proud of, and that's a track record that we want to maintain here with this smart bond as well. So once again, we appreciate everyone supporting the district, and we look forward to coming back and sharing more great news about the Dearborn Public Schools with all of you.